If you feel behind with money right now, I need you to watch this because you might be doing far better than you think, and nobody told you what progress actually feels like. Here is the cruel trick of building wealth. It is invisible before it is visible. For years, almost nothing shows, and then it shows all at once. So the real signs you are getting rich are not the numbers. They are small shifts in how you behave and how you feel, and almost every one of them feels like nothing, or worse, feels like you are missing out. I am going to give you 10 of them. Count how many are already true for you, because most people are further along than the mirror is telling them. This is not another finance channel handing you a checklist to feel bad about. Stay with me, because sign number 10 is the one that quietly separates the people who make it from the people who quit. The first sign is that money sitting in your account has stopped screaming at you. There was a time $100 spare felt like a fire you had to put out by spending it. Now it can just sit there, and you feel nothing. That numbness is not boredom, it is the itch losing its grip, and the itch is what kept you poor. Here is a strange one. Feeling behind is often a sign you are ahead. The people who feel behind are the ones paying attention, measuring, comparing, thinking about the future at all. The truly stuck do not feel behind, because they have stopped looking. Your unease is not proof you are failing. It is proof you are in the game. You caught yourself feeling genuinely good about paying off a card, or hitting a round number in savings, the same way you used to feel about buying something new. When the boring wins start giving you the dopamine that the flashy ones used to, your brain has quietly switched teams. That is a bigger deal than any single deposit. You used to want people to see it, the new thing, the good news. Now, when something goes right with money, you feel a quiet pull to say nothing. That instinct to go silent is not shyness. It is the earliest form of the thing wealthy people all learn eventually, that the less you broadcast, the more you keep, and the safer you are. You set up a small transfer that moves money the day you get paid, and watching it happen gives you a strange little hit of calm. Most people hate the transfer because it feels like loss. If it feels like relief instead, you have crossed a line. You have made the future automatic, which means you no longer rely on willpower, and willpower was always the thing that ran out. You turned down a dinner, a trip, a thing you could not really afford, and you did it without a story, without an apology, without that hot flush of shame. The ability to say a clean no is a wealth skill long before it is a wealth number. It means your choices are finally serving your plan instead of your image. Expensive used to mean a big price tag. Now it means bad value, and cheap things that waste your money have started to feel more expensive than good things that last. When you stop asking what does it cost and start asking what does it cost me over time, you are thinking like someone who keeps money, not someone who just earns it. You do not feel rich, you feel calm. The panic that used to sit in your chest at the end of the month has quietly lifted, even though your life looks almost identical from the outside. That calm is the first dividend wealth ever pays, and it arrives long before the money looks like anything. Do not dismiss it. It is the whole point. You have lost interest in the get-rich-quick, the lottery ticket, the one bet that changes everything. Not because you gave up on being rich, but because some part of you finally believes the slow way will actually work. Trust in compounding is not exciting, but it is the exact belief that lets people hold on long enough for compounding to happen. And here is the last one, the quiet one that decides everything. Your money habits have started to drift away from the people around you. You save while they spend, you wait while they buy, and it can feel isolating, like you are the boring one, the difficult one. That loneliness is not a warning sign. It is the toll. Almost everyone who builds real wealth passes through a stretch where their choices no longer match their crowd, and most people turn back right there, not because the plan failed, but because the loneliness felt like failure. Here is what ties all 10 together, and it is the thing nobody names. Every one of these signs is really the same shift wearing a different mask. At the start, money runs you. It pulls you toward the spend, the panic, the comparison, the need to be seen, and you react. Somewhere in the quiet middle, that flips, and you start running the money instead. The numbness is you no longer being yanked by the itch. The calm is you no longer being ruled by the fear. The silence, the clean no, the boring thrill, the loneliness, all of it is the same underlying thing, control moving from the money to you. That is why the signs feel like nothing, because a change in who is in charge does not announce itself. It just quietly stops the old reactions one by one. And it is also why the balance is the last thing to move. The identity shifts first, the behavior shifts second, and the number, the only part anyone can see, always shows up last, long after the real work is already done. Look at all 10 and notice what they have in common. Every single sign feels like nothing. Numbness, unease, calm, silence, loneliness. None of it feels like winning, because winning was sold to you as loud, and this is quiet. That is the trap. The middle of building wealth is a long, flat, invisible stretch where all the progress is real and none of it shows. And it is precisely there, in the boredom and the loneliness, that most people quit, one step before the curve finally bends up. So here is what to do with this. 2 moves. 1. Name where you are. Go back through the 10 and count how many are already true. That number is your real progress report, the one your balance is too slow to show you. If you have 4, 5, 6 of these, you are not behind. You are in the invisible stretch, and the invisible stretch is where it is actually working. 2. Protect the boring habit through the flat part. Pick the one automatic thing, the transfer, the payoff, the quiet no, and promise yourself you will not touch it during the stretch where it feels pointless. Because the whole game is just staying in the boring middle long enough for the visible part to arrive. Picture Sam. 2 years in, nothing to show, still driving the same car, still feeling behind while friends posted upgrades. 7 of these signs were quietly true, and he could not feel a single one of them as a win. The night he almost cashed out the savings to feel like he was living again, he counted the signs instead. 7. He left the money alone. 18 months later, the curve bent, the way it always does, all at once, and the only thing he had actually done was refuse to quit in the flat part. So hear this. You are not failing because it feels like nothing. It is supposed to feel like nothing. The villain was never your slow progress. It was a culture that only ever shows you the loud, visible finish and hides the long, quiet middle where wealth is really made. So the exact place you are standing feels like proof you are losing. You are not losing. You are early. And early always feels like behind. And notice how quietly that flips the whole story you have been telling yourself. The very things you judged yourself for, the boredom, the saying no, the feeling left out, turn out to be the exact evidence that it is working. You were not falling behind in those moments. You were paying the quiet toll that almost nobody is willing to pay, and that unwillingness is the only reason so few people ever get there. The discomfort was never the problem. It was the receipt. So go back to the start. If you felt behind when this began, count your signs now. That is the truth the mirror could not tell you. Try one thing this week. Protect a single boring habit and refuse to quit it through the flat part. Because getting rich feels like nothing, right up until it feels like everything. If any of these hit home, subscribe, and I will keep showing you the psychology behind every dollar.